You know what? I see you doing your little business. I see you, you put out a couple of little clips on YouTube. That's nice. I see you got your little podcast. I see you put out your book. Oh, it was cute. I might get one. Mm, you all right. But I don't really think is what you're talking about really valuable. Like, you don't even do anything that's. What kind of experience do you have? It's not your value. Yeah, I don't see it. Like, I know the old you. I know the regular you. So this doesn't really seem realistic that you're even trying to do this. Come on now, really, think about it. Who do you think you are? Like Oprah? Like you really think you own, like literally own your own network? Come on now, that's what we're going to get into today. Because is that what you're saying to yourself? Is that something that people are saying to you? Do you have people around you that talk to you like that? Or is that enemy really the inner me? That's what we're going to get in tonight. Come on, Joe. Go on, tell the people what we're here for.
Well, of course, that's Marion.
Hey, and that's Joe.
And I am a podcast pro.
Did you say pro?
I did, because you had to hit it like one of them, old hip hop joints, like ho.
Why would you do that to me? Listen, pro, P-R-O-P, purposeful. You want to make sure that everything you're doing has a purpose. You don't want to be frivolously be out here just doing any old thing. Or you want to be resilient with what you're doing. You want to see the possibility in problems that other people do not see. Oh, you want to be outstanding. You want to stand out as the unique you that you are.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes, tonight's episode, this episode right here, I just want to be successful.
Yes.
The crazy thing is, we're here to teach you how to shine bright like a diamond, even when it's rough. What? Yeah. Yes, rough. Yeah. The diamond in the rough that you are. That is amazing. Amazing. Joe.
Yes.
I just want to, that OWN network, literally, Oprah, her network is the OWN network. And the thing is that people talk to themselves and they have people around them that don't really encourage or celebrate the things that they do as they go along and the things that they're doing to be on their way to becoming, because I don't think that people themselves, I know for me, I didn't realize I was becoming. But in looking at Oprah and the OWN network, so when do you think she should have celebrated? Should she celebrate her success? Is her success defined when she owned the OWN network? Was her success defined when she had the Oprah Winfrey Show? Was her success defined when she was in The Color Purple, when she started Harpo Productions, when she was the first Black anchor person in Nashville? Was that the success? Was it success when she won a pageant? Was it success when she went to college and studied speech communication and performing arts? So for Oprah, are we just defining her success as the OWN network? Like, how do you define success? Because I think that's the problem. The problem is how everyone is defining success. Those comments that I made as the episode started Those are things I used to think, yeah, I put this out. It's okay. Yeah, I did this. I tried. It's okay. It's all right. It's this, it's that. And I had to shift what I thought, my views on success. You know, we celebrate kids. We celebrate when your kid says mama, dad, dad, when they walk, when they eat, when they go to the bathroom for the first time by themselves.
Yeah.
We celebrate when a baby actually poops in a pamper. It's like, oh, the baby's
Right.
good. That's success.
Oh yeah.
When
Oh yeah.
did we get away from that? And what is your definition of success?
Yeah. 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 I would probably say, or I would venture to say, if I were to guess what Oprah would say, and what anybody who really understands what success really looks like, what it really is, it's that moment when you learn something new, whether you learn it in a win or whether you learn it in a loss, and then you go out and apply what you learned the next time around, and you see it actually yield positive results. Because the bottom line is like, yeah, you can learn something, keep applying it, keep applying it, keep applying it, and it still doesn't work. But it's like, okay, at what point do you now learn something new, shift your perspective and say, okay, this isn't working. So let me try this from what I learned the last time and apply it this next time around. And then when you see it actually work, it's like, oh snap, it's working. That actually worked out right there.
That part. Oh snap, it's working.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh snap, like that right there keeps you youthful. Oh snap, it's working.
Yeah.
That right there. So the other thing was, in those statements that I gave, was the comparison.
Yeah.
Of who do you think you are? The audacity of you to be putting out this little podcast and these little clips on social media and going on somebody's podcast, somebody else's podcast, and thinking you have something valuable to say. The audacity.
Yeah.
Do you think you're Oprah? The comparison.
Yeah.
Of the whole thing. Expound on it, sir.
Yeah. So it's very easy when it comes down to success. I mean, just look at so many different areas where people compare success to somebody else's success. I mean, we see it in social media all the time. Like, you see people with all of this money, these nice cars, these nice houses. You see people like working out, they're ripped, you know, they got these really nice bodies. You could tell like they're in the gym just getting it in, you know what I mean? And that works for them. That's success for them, you know, for those people. But what about the people who it doesn't necessarily come that easy? And I'm going to kind of parallel that to the podcasting world, because I know for myself, when I first got into the podcasting world, there were a lot of podcasts at a lot of different stations or platforms that had more viewers. They just had a bigger draw. More, the bigger named artists in the area or the bigger named people in the area easily went to their show. Whereas it was like me pulling teeth to get those same people on my show. They wouldn't even look twice at trying to come on my show. And I found myself in certain instances comparing myself to those shows. Like, you know, well, I'm on brand with these shows. Like, I don't feel like what I do isn't something that these people, you know, can't come on and actually get a good experience. And it's very easy, especially in the podcasting world, to get caught up in streaming numbers, to get caught up in the amount of views, the amount of likes, the popularity that you have, the graphics, like all of the different bells and whistles that could come with a podcast. If everybody knows your podcast, a lot of people will feel like, okay, that's what defines success. But when it comes to comparison, I always think about, you can't always look at your impact or how successful you are as a program by numbers and by metrics. I always think about a couple of things. I think about Empire, the show Empire. And when Lucius's long lost son, Jeff Kingsley, comes on the show, he throws all of these numbers at Lucius. And Lucius is like, music isn't about numbers. Music is about the heart and the soul and the feeling of things. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but like it's about, what does it make you feel? How does it change your life? Like, where's the soul in what you're talking about? And when it comes to success and impact, also parallel it to the first show I thought about when it came to, like, because I think a lot of times when you think about TV shows, you think about ratings. Like, how high are they rated? Like, if you were in the top 30, you were doing really good as a TV show. But then I think about a show like The Office. The Office is one of the most heralded TV sitcoms in television history. Like, I think it was Rolling Stone. They named it as one of their 100 greatest shows of all time. This is a show that never rated higher than the top 40. Its highest rating in its entire history was 41 in season 6. 41. You talking to somebody that came from a time when shows like The Cosby Show regularly #1 in the Nielsen ratings. Roseanne regularly #1 in the Nielsen ratings. Like, that's the era of TV I came from. Golden Girls, top 5 show. Like, these are shows that were like just top 5 shows. But then you think about a show like The Office. The Office, I bring up The Office because of how influential The Office is on television, modern television as we speak. You can't look at a show now on television, a sitcom, without saying they took their style from The Office. You look at Parks and Rec, you look at Modern Family, you look at Community, you look at even to certain degrees, even though Arrested Development came out a little bit before The Office, but the UK version of The Office was probably out before Arrested Development. Like, all of these different shows, even now, like, you look at shows like St. Dennis Medical, you look at Abbott Elementary, all of these shows now, if you go back to The Office, they get a lot of their shooting styles, their storytelling styles from this show that never ranked higher than 41 in the ratings. So I say all that to say, if you define your success by numbers, you playing a risky game. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You playing a risky game, because there are a lot of people that have the numbers, but what are they talking about on their podcast? What's the integrity of their podcast? I look at a lot of shows that I was on the air with at the same time, whether it's shows on the station I was on, shows on competing stations, just other podcasts. And I would look at these shows and I would look at how many people were watching. But then I would also look at the trajectory of conversations. I would look at how well the interviews were rolling out. And I'm just like, yeah, your numbers might be big, but I know I'm a better interviewer. And it's not saying it in a cocky way, not saying it at all. It's knowing that I've put in the time and the effort and the work to actually give people, when they come on my show, to give them a once in a lifetime experience, to give them a one of a kind experience, that when they come on my show, they leave feeling like that either that was the best interview I ever had or it's top 3.
Yeah.
For me, that was part of my success. Another thing that was part of my success, a meaningful conversation that you're not going to be able to have on anybody else's show. You can only have this experience if you come on my show. For me, that was success. I was never somebody that had like hundreds of people watching my show at one time. Never happened. I've had one show in the entire history of my platform, bars that is, where I had probably over 1,000 views like all at once. Only once. And that's fine, because Another sign of success for me was the lasting impact of the show. People are still coming to me to this day asking me if I'm going to bring the show back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't have the numbers. I didn't have
Right.
a whole bunch of people watching. I didn't have a whole bunch of people liking my stuff. I didn't have a whole bunch of people sharing my stuff. I couldn't even
Nope.
get sponsors. I couldn't even get
Nope.
sponsors the entire time I was on the air. I couldn't even get sponsors. I basically had to sponsor myself after a while once I started developing my own brand.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is the fact that I can go to people still to this day, just random events, and people will say, yo, I wish y'all bring bars back. Or opportunities that come about because of what I did on bars, because of how I treated people, because of how I poured into people, because I made people feel like, yo, you actually care about what I have to say. You actually care about me as a person. Forget the interview stuff. Forget the business part. You care about me as a person. You respected me. That's success for me. Now, it could be different for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
different for somebody else. But the bottom
Yeah.
line is I had to get out of that zone of not of comparing myself to anybody else and realizing that what I had was special. And when you get to like really pulling in the curation part, because it's the comparison versus curation, when you get to the curation part, when you curate something, you put something together. You sift through certain things in order to make it make sense. And what I realized is that I had, for me, curation and curating my success was pulling all of the different things that I was good at under one umbrella and making it flow like a really good music playlist. Like you always hear that word like curating, like whenever you think about music playlists, whenever you think about a DJ curating a set for a particular show. It's understanding who your audience is or who your community is and curating what you do specifically for them.
Yeah.
To me, that's what makes you successful because it means that you are engaged with what's going on. You are engaged with the people who are pouring into you and you are pouring back into them and reflecting back to them saying, hey, I paid attention to what y'all want and what y'all need from me specifically, not from this person over here who has this show, not from this person over here who has that show. Those shows already exist. You need something different from me because you need me to stand out so you can get something that you're not getting anywhere else.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I curated success with my show. And
That's how you.
and I feel like that's what you have to do as a podcaster, as an interviewer, as a radio show host, whatever it is, you have to recognize what your community needs and curate based on their needs and give of yourself so that you have something that they can't get from anywhere else. That's when you have to like take the comparison completely out of the equation because you are a one of one. As a podcaster, as an interviewer, as a radio show host, as a TV host, whatever you do in media, you are a one of one. And you have to curate everything that you do. You have to pull everything together, even if it's all of the many talents that you have, pull it all together and make it make sense.
Yeah. For me, comparison. It's a thing of I don't know what that person went through. I never walked in their shoes. I didn't suffer their wounds. I didn't cry their tears. I didn't suffer their losses. I can't even tell you what their sacrifices were, what they endured, what they're living with to be where they are doing what they're doing. The only persons whose journey I'll be able to articulate is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Articulate in terms of the authentic, good, bad, and ugly of the whole situation.
Yeah.
the good, the things that were easy for me to work through, get through, not even through, it was just for me to produce, for me to put forward, for me to showcase. Very easy. There are some things in this podcast game you're going to find that's going to be very easy for you, whether you're a host, a guest, or you're just presenting solo. There are parts that's going to be like, oh, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the parts, there's that bad. There's that area of just, it's bad. This bad. This is hard.
Yeah.
This is challenging.
Yeah.
This is, I have to learn this. I'm going to have to take a class. I'm going to have to call somebody. I'm going to have to something. And then there's that ugly. When you go ahead and put it out and then you look back at it and go, what in the world? And it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It literally hurts your feelings. It just does not do you well emotionally, spiritually, everything. You feel like everything was a waste. The moments I spent putting it together was a waste. You just feel wounded and hurt. It's just ugly. You're bringing up that ugly cry, where the face is contorted and distorted. Your tears are falling. You can barely breathe. It hurts. It doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable, whether it's something you put out or something you need to learn. And it's just, oh my goodness, I can't get this at this time. I'm just not doing this well enough, or I don't feel I have the connections I need to be able to do this or get someone to do it for me. There are those things where you can't look at those things and then compare them to what somebody else is doing. Because you don't know what they have. You don't know. You have no idea that they got a whole team working on their stuff. And
That
for
part.
you, it's just you and your homie. And you
Yeah.
feel like, well,
Yeah.
that's not enough. Well, at least you got your homie. And then if it's just you starting out by yourself, there is no just you. You're starting. It's
That's
the
right.
perspective of how you're saying it. And that's how I break the comparison. But that cultivating success for me through others. I'll use Oprah as an example.
Yeah.
Oprah cultivated her success starting in school, choosing what she wanted to study. Well, you don't have to start at a college to choose what you want. It's a new day and age. You can watch things right here on YouTube, like
Yep.
this podcast right here.
Yeah.
You can watch things right here on how to communicate and articulate what you need to what the tools that you need to communicate and articulate your message. The
Yep.
things that you should be expecting, the armor that you're going to need to put on so that things don't hit you so hard. They don't take you out. They don't make you go, I can't do this no more. It's too hard. Guess
Yeah.
what? Creating that first episode for us was easy, and it's getting easier and easier because as we create the next, we realize, oh my goodness, and we need to talk about this, and we need to
Yeah.
talk about this, and we need to talk about this. You when you're starting, or as you have already started, or I'm gonna make it personal. When I started, I literally used to think, okay, so if after I do this, I don't have anything else to talk about. What
Yeah.
else am I going to talk about? I don't have
Yeah.
anything else. Who else am I going to talk to? I had guests. Who else am on one podcast? Who else am I going to talk to? I don't have
Yeah.
anybody else to talk. You cannot think don't. You
Right.
can't think don't have. You can't think. You just have to cultivate what you already do have. For that guest get out of there, hey, do you know anybody else who you think would be a good fit for this podcast? You were just on it. You got any references? You know anybody? Cultivate. You gotta curate what's there. You gotta curate, unearth what you don't even see. But
Yep.
even in you going back to Oprah, going back to who I started with, she idolized, or who she looked up to was Barbara Walters, because Barbara Walters was doing that thing before she. So that's where she got the idea. This is something I can do. I
Yeah.
can do this as this is my career. This could be my this she started with career. Now it's
Yeah.
her business.
Yeah.
Now she employs other people to do that thing she wanted to do. So
Yeah.
you have to really see it and look at, where do I say this is successful? This is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for
It-
us, at the end of every episode, we celebrate. We're excited before we come on. We're
That's right.
excited about the episode before we come on. We're excited after we go off and we have a conversation and go, oh my goodness, and we should have said this, we should have, and then all these other ideas just come. You will
Yeah.
not run out of content as long as you keep your mind open.
That's right.
Keep your mind open.
Yeah.
You won't run out. You can be inspired by others. She saw Barbara Walters. She got inspired to be an anchor. Then she went on to be a host next to Sally, Jesse, Raphael, and Donahue. And
Yep.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then she
Yeah.
goes on to do her own production company, do The Color Purple using her arts and performing arts degree, doing The Color Purple, and then going on to say, you know what? I'm going to shut all this down and start my own network.
Yeah.
So when is it success? When do you sit and go, I've done something?
Yeah.
I've done, when I make those clips, here tell you, I'm like, oh my God, I got one, I got one, I got one.
Yeah.
I'm sending it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We work on the title.
Yes.
The title. Here we go again with the title. Tell
That's
them what
the one.
part you came up with. Tell them the part.
So I came up with, I mean, we were talking about, we knew we wanted to talk about success. And I was like, okay, you know, as y'all have noticed, a lot of our titles are influenced by songs because, I mean, we're both music people. So naturally, it's just one of those things that makes it even catchier, especially when we're promoting the episodes. So I was like, okay, songs about success. And instantly in my head, I hear Trey Songz singing, I just want to be successful. I was like, because that's when I really liked Drake. Like when Drake first came out, that's when I really liked Drake. I was a big Drake fan when he first came out. You know what I'm saying? And what's interesting about me even using Drake as an example, and kind of to a certain degree, Trey Songz as an example, but specifically Drake, this is when he first started out. He was hungry. He wasn't the Drake that we know of now. He was like just really coming of age, and people was really just starting to know who he was. And it was more of the humility at that point, that it was like, you know, the cars, the money, the clothes, all that stuff is cool, I suppose, but I just want to be successful. And as soon as it hit, I was like, that's it. It's so perfect because it's like, yeah, we could focus on the material things. Yeah, we could focus on the numbers and the metrics and all of these things that so many people measure by success. But at the end of the day, it's like, I just want to be successful, and by my measure and definition of success. And then when Marion came in, and I'm gonna let her take over that part because she threw a couple jumps out there. I was like, okay, that's cool. No, that's the one. That's
That
the
part right there. When I tell y'all, he said, I just want to be successful. I was like, okay. I said, how to shine bright like a diamond, even when it's rough. And then I deleted it. And I said, let me see what else I get. Let me see what else the Holy Spirit drop in my spirit. Let me see what else I make up. And then I came up with two smaller ones. And I said, this one, I didn't see any bubbles. I said, okay, this one, texting, nothing. When I sent this, I hit send, and my phone went ding. Wait for you telling me you was there the whole time. But that's it. That's so you, and we celebrated. You should see the text. That's like, that's it. I was like, oh my God, that's what I had at first. And da 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 da. If you celebrate everything as you go along, when you hit the rougher patches, it won't seem so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
That's right.
can't make everything hard. Everything can't be difficult.
Right.
Everything can't be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to start with the own network. You know what
No.
we're going to start with? We're going to start with grade school, go through middle school, go through high
Mm-hmm.
school. We're going to go grade by grade and get there. And by the time we get there, we're going to have the wisdom to maintain. So each level we get to, we have the wisdom to maintain it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
celebrate the steps to get to that level. Because guess what? She didn't start out to have on. Oprah did not start out to run or begin to start to launch the OWN network. That was her first thing was, I want to go to college. Her
Yeah.
next thing was, I want to win this pageant. Her
Yeah.
next thing was, I want to be an anchor at the news on a station you ain't never seen nobody your color.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're a woman. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
In Nashville? Please pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to the way I say it.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, ask somebody.
That's right.
Ask somebody. If you don't get what I'm saying, ask about that. Then you ask someone.
Right. And then don't forget.
At that
Don't
time.
forget.
At that time.
And don't forget.
Hmm.
Not only all of that, but also she wasn't slim and she wasn't light skinned. Because when
Those
it
were
came
accepted.
down, yes, exactly. When you looked at a lot of the first Black anchor women or news reporters at that time, they were usually fairer skinned and slimmer. Oprah didn't fit none of them molds. And that's what made it so awesome. She was breaking so many barriers all at once in every arena that she went in. Every arena that she went in. Like not just one, every single arena
Yeah.
she went in, she was breaking barriers.
Yeah. Yeah. So we say all of this to say, don't despise your small beginnings because they're not small. They're just steps in the journey to your destination. And guess
Yeah.
what? You think you know what that destination is? That ultimate destination is? No, just strive for where you're striving, and then you'll see your potential just keep unveiling itself to do more
Yep.
and more and
Yep.
more and greater and bigger. But you have to start by starting. Did that make sense?
That make perfect sense. Perfect sense.
All
Yeah.
right, I think that's it.
I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this jump. I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 because I think we're gonna have to give them a little bit more when it comes to that celebration part. Because I don't think we really dug into how important it is to celebrate. Because I mean, we touched on comparison versus curating, and we talked about the importance of cultivating. But that celebration piece is so important. We teased them, but we gonna really have to break that thing wide open next time
Yeah.
around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great place to leave it. I know for me, in terms of takeaways, like when I really think about the whole cultivation piece, like just thinking about like the example you gave with Oprah, like it's so powerful because when you think about cultivating something, you are working with what you have and planting where you are. And whatever you plant, whatever you cultivate, it's a bigger process than that. It's like you have to really prepare the land. If you think about it from a farming perspective, when you cultivate the land, you have to prepare the land. It's a certain thing that you have to do with it in order for those things to grow. And all of those examples that you gave of what Oprah did on her way to being the Oprah that we know her to be. Because I mean, you think about it, like you and I, like we've had Oprah pretty much our whole lives. So we've seen her from beginning to now. There's some people that's coming in and they coming in on the tail end. Some people are older than us, and they've seen it like kind of, they've seen the whole journey, but it's different when you are a certain age and you're younger and you see this Black woman like just completely destroying all of the stereotypes, all of the assumptions, all of these things that people just associate with Black people, Black women, when it comes to being in certain spaces. She destroyed all of those things. Like, she curated what she had. She pulled all these different talents together. That's why in a lot of ways, I identify with Oprah. I'm sure you identify with Oprah because you do the same thing. You pull all of your different talents together. You pull all of the people together that are going to make what you do make sense. And you make it work. And then you cultivate, as you prepare that land for even bigger success, you plant all the little seeds of what you done learned in the ground. You keep watering those things and just keep watching it grow.
Yeah.
Keep watching it grow.
Yeah.
And the whole piece you said about like being okay with starting small. You have to start small. Trying to start big, it's like, how can you handle big if you don't know how to handle small? Like, it's too heavy for you. It's like working out. Like, you can't start off lifting like 200 pounds if you've never lifted 200 pounds. Like,
you got to build the muscles. Yeah.
So that's a great way to look at cultivation, like building muscle. You're cultivating your muscles. You're cultivating your brain muscle. You're cultivating your financial muscle. You're cultivating your business muscle. You're cultivating your people skills muscle, because like, it's so many different muscles that you have to strengthen and you have to work out and you have to cultivate. Yes. And you watch that thing just keep getting bigger, getting more definition, and you get stronger with time. Yeah. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leverage your experience and shape your authentic self. That is the greatest takeaway I have. Leverage your experience.
Yes.
And shape your authentic self. That's what you're doing by cultivating.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So
great stuff.
Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow. Listen, when I say share, we really do want to get this information out to the masses. So if you know people that need help with their communication skills, they have to present. And this doesn't just have to be in the podcast arena. These things, these communication skills that we're sharing and this information that we're sharing, this is life-changing information. So I would ask, if you do anything for us, can you share it with 2 people? I'm just asking you to share it with 2 people and hit like and leave a comment. You know the comment I want you to leave in the comments? Success.
Yes. Yes.
Leave a comment of success. And before you go to bed tonight, I want you to acknowledge 3 things that are successful that you did today. You know what? I didn't feel like doing this, but I did it. Instead of going to buy that food, I made my lunch.
Yes.
Instead of doing this, I did this.
I can relate to that. And I just got paid today. I was like, oh, no, I can't spend money on that. That
part. Even scrolling on your phone. I closed that phone, I closed the phone, stopped scrolling, and I went and did, I read the book, the pages of the book that I said I would read. Celebrate the things that listen, I need to start celebrating, because if you start celebrating them, they'll become more enjoyable.
Yes.
So that's where we'll leave it, and we'll see you in that next episode. Yes, Joe, is there any other way that they can reach out to us? I know I'm missing something.
Yes, absolutely. So please make sure, if you are not already doing so, follow us on Instagram at I Am a Podcast Pro. We have a Facebook group at I Am a Podcast Pro. So just search us in groups. I Am a Podcast Pro with Marion and Joe. Find us, join the group. We'll let you in, as long as you want to up and up. It's all about community and really growing a community. And also, if you want to reach out to us, make sure that you email us at IMApodcastpro@gmail.com. If you have any questions about any of the material that you've seen so far in any of the episodes, it doesn't have to be this episode, but if you've been binge watching, what I'm saying, if you are a really faithful supporter of the platform and you've been binge watching, you got some questions and you need some guidance, definitely hit us up. Or if you have any suggestions for future episodes, something that you would like for us to talk about that you feel isn't being addressed in the podcast world, please definitely let us know. We will be glad, blessed, and thankful for your suggestions. We are a community. We don't know it all. We know what we know. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about everybody teaching one and helping us to grow as a podcast community, as an ecosystem. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight to I Am a Podcast Pro. And one more time, Marion, what is that pro? How are they a pro?
Pro, listen, pro, P, purposeful. You know what your purpose is. You think you don't, but that thing that comes so easy to you, do that. Start there. Yeah. Resilience. Listen, where other people see obstacles, you see opportunity. And outstanding. Stand out as your amazing self. Yes. See you in the next episode.
Peace.
Yes. Go